Welcome to the Peterman workshop. Today I'm actually going to do a demonstration on the installation of a Peterman pickup into a resonator guitar. Now resonators, they're a little bit different to normal guitars in the sense that you don't just simply put the pickup on the body because well, it has a very unique mechanism for projecting the sound. And the body, although it takes part in that process, it is not the main thing that projects the sound, unlike a normal acoustic guitar, where the front face of the guitar, the soundboard of the guitar, is the thing that produces and projects the sound. And the hole in the guitar that is there to support the low frequencies by amplifying those through the body inside the guitar and out through the sound hole. A resonator is very different. The sound very much comes from the diaphragm or the membrane that's inside behind this cover, and it does have two sound holes here, and they add a little bit of bass frequencies to the sound that's projected out the front. Now if one simply just put pickups on the body of a resonator, although it works, it's not a very strong sound, because there's not that much vibration through the top of the guitar. And if you just simply turn up your amp to compensate for the low volume, you will have some feedback issues, I feel. So the best way is to mount the pickups inside directly where the sound is being produced. And in this particular case, this is a resonator with a spider. So the best place for the pickup is actually on the spider itself. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now, I have already taken the strings off because we need to get this apart in order to, and we have to take the cover off. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I've taken all the screws out around the outer edge. You can see now that the cover is loose and comes off. So what we have inside here then is the resonator cone and the tailpiece and the bridge. Now, when you do this, there's a good chance that the cone will fall out of the resonator. This one is actually partially glued in using a rubber adhesive. So there's no vibration, so I don't have to worry about it falling out. But if you're doing this at home, maybe a little bit of masking tape or something to hold it in place while you're working so it doesn't keep falling out on you, which would get really annoying. So now we then have the Peterman dual resonator pickup. It comes with a volume control and a tone control. The tone control is just like on an electric guitar. When you tone it back a little bit, it softens the sound a little bit. This is completely passive. There's no batteries or anything required. So this volume unit attaches to the tailpiece, and that can be either attached with the double-sided tape, which is included, or you can use cable ties, which are also included. I'm going to use double-sided tape. Now, the pickups themselves are going to be mounted onto the spider. The pickup also ships with temporary tack, like blue tack, and that is for testing to see where you think the best sound is achieved. And then once you're happy with that, then you use the double-sided tape to permanently attach it inside your guitar. Now, if I place the lid back onto the guitar temporarily, like this, I will see that I have a fair bit of space between the spider and the cover, enough to fit the pickup under. So, and the reason I'm saying this is that these pickups are adjustable, so they have the treble pickup in particular has a little screw in the middle. So if you look here, at the treble pickup, you'll see it has a little adjustment screw in the middle. And by tightening that screw, you change the frequency, or tightening and or loosening, you will change the frequencies a little bit. Now, in the case of a resonator, it might be that you want to loosen the screw, because when you loosen the screw, you actually get more honk out of the pickup. Some of those higher frequencies, the more delicate, nice frequencies that you associate with a really beautiful acoustic wooden instrument, may not be that desirable in a resonator. Because what you really want here is you really want to capture that kind of metallic honk of the instrument. So it might be a situation where you want to take the screw out. Now, the thing is then, when you install the pickup, it's got to happen in a certain sequence in order for all the pieces to go back on the way they came off. And to adjust afterwards whether you want the screw in or out can be a little bit tricky, because you would need to install the pickup or temporarily attach the pickup, put the strings back on, so you take the lid off, then install the pickup with a temporary tack onto the spider, put the strings back on, and then play and adjust the screw until you get the sound that you desire. And that's perfectly doable. It's just putting the strings on, taking the strings off. It's a bit of a nuisance. And the reason you have to do that is because the strings go through this cover plate. So you can't really do it without actually physically taking the strings completely off in order to get this plate off. So I have already done this testing, and I found I actually like it best with the screw in. It gives the widest amount of frequencies and the most flexible sound, I suppose. If you want to pull the treble down a little bit, well, you've got the tone control on the tailpiece to do that. So I'm going to leave that screw finger tight. Okay, not too loose because it might rattle, but I'm just using my fingernail and I'm just giving it just the tiniest amount so that it's secure, that's all. I'm not tightening it, I'm just securing it. And that will lift those high frequencies and make the instrument sound fuller and more round. But as I said, if you really want like deep honk, you can take the screw out. And of course, you can test it by, as I said before, putting the strings on, testing it, and then taking the strings back off again, and then assembling it. It's not a huge job. It's just, you've changed strings before. It's not the kind of thing that you want to be doing too much of. So, having said all that, I'm now going to install the pickup. And I'm going to install it underneath the spider. There is enough room to do it on top of the spider, and it might be possible that I can get through one of the holes and adjust the screw after installation, but that depends on the design of your cover plate and how we could actually get to the pickup if it's installed on the top. The other thing too is the spider itself is round, or this spider, there are many different types out there. This spider has a rounded profile on the top and it has a flat profile at the back. So I'm going to install it underneath from the back, because that will give me the best mounting possibility with a double-sided tape. So the thing is, in order to install this pickup successfully on here, it has to be done in a certain sequence. And the thing is that the wires have to go through the center part of the cover plate. And you have to put those through the center first. And then attach the pickups to the spider, and then put the lid back on. Because they have to go, if you put the pickups on first, you can't get the lid on, because none of this, the only thing that fits through that little opening is the actual pickup heads themselves. So the sequence here is really important. So when you have taken the strings off and you've taken the cover plate off and you now have the resonator like this, maybe with a bit of double-sided tape to keep it in place, then it is time to attach the pickups, and you have to do that through the lid. So make sure the lid is the right way, and then put the pickup heads through, and then just rest the cover on the side there, and then we will glue the pickup heads underneath the spiral. And we're going to do that with the double-sided tape that's included. And in this particular case, now more often than not with my pickups, I say to use a long strip for the bass pickup and 2 small dots for the treble pickup. However, in this particular case, again, being a resonator, we want as much of that mid honk as we can while still keeping a little bit of delicateness to the sound. So I'm going to just cut 2 little squares and place them right smack bang in the middle of each pickup head, and then glue them in using that. And that'll make the sound a little bit hotter and a little bit more prominent. So I don't want this to be too big. I want it to be a square, and I want it to be about that size. So now you don't know the size of my finger, but that's about 12 mil or ½ inch, depending on which country you're in. So I then peel that off the backing, and I place that in the center. Let's see if I can show you this. In the center of the pickup, like that. I'll do exactly the same with the bass side. Again, cutting a little square. Placing it in the center of the pickup. So now I'm going to peel off the red protective layer, plastic layer, and expose the other side of the double-sided tape, and then place the pickups on the spiral. Now I'm just going to show you here. I have found the best place, this is by trial and error, is basically either side of the bridge there. So the bass pickup, which is the metal one, that goes underneath on the top side of the guitar where the bass strings are, and the treble pickup, which is the one made from hewn timber, goes on the treble side underneath. I pull off the red protective plastic and I put them, actually let me bring the camera over. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing a bit more accurately now. So here is the treble pickup, that's the timber one, and I'm now going to place that basically under there. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, wiggling it around a little bit, massaging it into place. I'm not squeezing crazy hard, but I'm being firm, and I'm kind of wiggling it a little bit to make sure that, because the double-sided tape has a little bit of flexibility, and that's actually important to the sound. Okay, so that's nice and secure in there now. Let me do the same with the bass pickup, and in place. And the same deal. Massage it a little bit. Okay, so they are now securely in place. So now we then have to start assembling this. So that goes underneath the tailpiece, and these cables then come up. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this with some double-sided tape as well. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut some long skinny strips and stick on each side here. in there. So then we peel back like that. Both the tapes have now been peeled back. Then just get it nice and straight like that, and we can massage that in place a little bit, and that'll sit nice and securely there. As I said, you can also put a cable tie around if you want it super secure. So now we have these wires poking out a little bit, and we need to do something with those because they need to be this long in order to be able to perform the installation. So you can then poke them inside, and then so they're out of the way, and then attach them with a little cable tie or something to keep them out of the way of the resonator. So, and then we've got to find the screw holes here to line this back up like that. Put the screws back in, put the strings back on, and plug and play. So not a huge job really. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put the screws in, and I'm going to take it up to the studio where we can plug it in and do a little sound demo. So, okay, so we're now up in the studio, and I'm currently plugged straight into a Jazz Chorus 120, Roland JC, just through the normal channel. A little bit of echo on there, but not really any major tone sculpting. So here's both tone and volume on full. So that's everything right up full. I'm going to turn the tone control right down. So much rounder sound. But you can adjust anywhere in the middle. So, there you have it. The Peterman Resonator pickup with volume and tone control. So, check it out on my website. Just go to peterman.shop and I'll check it there. Oh, and if you have a resonator with a biscuit, then keep an eye out. I'll be doing a video on that next. So, it might already be there by the time you see this video. So, keep jamming.